There's a good chance you've seen this coin, maybe even spent it without thinking twice. A small, silver-colored dime. Nothing flashy, nothing rare-looking at first glance. But what if I told you that one specific version of the 1973 Roosevelt Dime has quietly caught the attention of collectors across the United States? And most people have no idea why? Stay with me, because by the end of this story, you might look at your spare change very differently. The 1973 Roosevelt Dime carries the familiar face of Franklin D. Roosevelt, a figure deeply connected to American history. This design wasn't just about honoring a president. It symbolized resilience. Roosevelt led the country through the Great Depression and World War II. And after his passing in 1945, the dime became a tribute to his legacy, especially his connection to the March of Dimes campaign. But here's where things start to get interesting. By 1973, the United States Mint was operating at full speed. America was moving through a changing economic landscape. Inflation was rising, and coin production was massive. Millions upon millions of dimes were struck that year. So naturally, most people assume a 1973 dime is common. And they're not wrong. At least not entirely. Because hidden inside that massive production were subtle details, tiny differences, and a few surprising anomalies that only sharp-eyed collectors notice. Now imagine this. You're cleaning out an old drawer. Maybe it's a jar of coins your parents saved, or loose change from years ago. You pick up a 1973 dime. It looks normal. Worn edges, slightly dull shine. You almost toss it aside, but something feels different. The mint mark catches your eye, or maybe it doesn't have one at all. That moment, that hesitation, is exactly how discoveries begin. Let's break this down in a way most people never do. The 1973 Roosevelt Dime was minted in three main locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Coins from Philadelphia in that era typically had no mint mark. Denver coins carried a small D, while San Francisco produced both proof coins and special collector versions. But here's the twist. Some collectors have spent years hunting for high-grade 1973 dimes, coins that somehow escaped circulation damage. Why? Because condition changes everything. A worn dime might be worth exactly 10 cents, but a pristine, untouched example, especially one graded at the highest levels, can attract serious attention in the collector market. And it's not just about condition. There's a quiet fascination with proof coins from San Francisco. These coins weren't meant for everyday use. They were specially struck with polished dies, giving them a mirror-like finish. When you hold one under light, it doesn't just reflect. It almost glows. That visual contrast between the frosted design and the deep mirror background is something collectors genuinely appreciate. But here's a lesser-known insight most casual collectors miss. Some 1973 proof dimes show what experts call deep cameo contrast. It's not guaranteed on every coin. In fact, it's relatively scarce, and that scarcity, combined with near-perfect preservation, can significantly increase collector interest. Not because it's a different coin, but because it's a better version of the same coin. That's the psychology of collecting. It's not always about rarity alone. It's about perfection, detail, and the story behind the object. Now let's talk about demand in the real world. In the United States, coin collecting has always had a strong following. From hobbyists to serious investors, people are constantly searching for coins that stand out. The 1973 Roosevelt Dime sits in a unique position. It's not ancient, it's not made of silver, and it's not obviously rare. Yet it still draws attention from collectors who understand grading, mint variations, and subtle differences. And that creates a quiet market. Not a loud, hyped-up frenzy, but a steady, informed demand. The kind driven by knowledge, not speculation. Here's something else that might surprise you. Even though silver was removed from dimes starting in 1965, many people still assume older-looking coins contain silver. The 1973 dime doesn't, but that misconception sometimes leads people to recheck their coins, rediscover collections, and unintentionally stumble into valuable high-grade pieces. It's almost like these coins are hiding in plain sight. And that's what makes this story so fascinating. Because, unlike legendary rare coins that most people will never see, the 1973 Roosevelt Dime is everywhere. It could be in your pocket, your drawer, or an old coin jar at home. The difference between an ordinary coin and a collectible one often comes down to tiny details. Details most people overlook. So the next time you come across a dime, pause for a second. Look at the year. Check the mint mark. Tilt it under the light. Ask yourself, does this look different? Does it feel sharper, cleaner, more defined than the others?